Way back in December of 2024, I showed you how you can add your logo or an image to a box, or any flat surface for that matter. And while that video is done fairly well and had a lot of positive comments, there's a much easier way to get it done now. Not only is it easier to add images to a flat surface, but you can also do it on basically any 3D model. I'm going to walk you through a couple different iterations inside of Mesh Graffiti, and then we'll print them out and take a look at the final results. So let's hop into the computer, head on over to Maker Lab, and see how it's done. All right, so to get started, we first want to go over to makerworld.com, and I will link this down in the description below as well. Next thing we want to do is go over to the left-hand side and click on Maker Lab. You can also just go to makerworld.com/makerlab to get there. Either way is just as easy as the other. So if you're not familiar with Maker Lab, it is basically a repository from Bambu Lab with a bunch of different model generators here. So we've got Make My Statue, a Flexi Toy Maker, Relief Sculpture, image to 3D model, image to keychain. You kind of get the idea here, and you can go and play around with all of these if you would like to see a little bit more about them. The one that we're going to focus on today, though, is called Mesh Graffiti. It is fairly new. It is still in the beta stages, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically, we can just click on Mesh Graffiti. It's going to give you a little tutorial here. If you want to take a look at that, feel free to do so. We're just going to click skip for now, though. So the next thing we want to do is obviously have a 3D model to upload. Whether you've designed it yourself or you're pulling something from Maker Lab or Printables, Thingiverse, something like this trash can pen holder. Maybe you want to add your own image to it. So whatever models you have, just upload that model inside of Mesh Graffiti. For now, I am going to start with something very similar to what I did the first time around when I was using the slicer to add our logo. So it looks similar to your slicer once you get the images imported. Same sort of functionality, same movements on the mouse or trackpad will get you where you need to go. You can also come off to the right-hand side here and change the color of everything. If you want a black box, a white box, whatever you want to do, you can set it up over here before you download our finished model. So what we want to do first, if we want to add a logo to something like this box or text, or you want to color it, you want to figure out what side you want to use. So if we're basing it off of the first video I did, and if you haven't seen that, I will link it in the description below so you can kind of compare how much easier this is than the old way. Basically what we did was we added our logo to the top lid of a box. Now it took a little bit of messing around in a couple different applications. There was some conversions we had to do to get it from a regular image file, a PNG file, into a vector file or an SVG so it would work inside of Bambu Lab. This way, though, is a little bit easier. So we've got on the left-hand side here, we have a color brush. So we can use this to paint on our model, and it's as simple as it sounds. We've also got a text brush. We can choose from a whole bunch of different fonts in here, and we can click on our box there, and the text will print just like that. Now on this one, we have an image brush. So Bambu Lab has their official images here. We're not going to use any of those. What we want to do is click on Upload. And I am just going to search for my logo right there. And we're going to use a PNG file. Could also use a JPEG if you wanted to. There is a remove background feature here if you had something in the background and you didn't end up wanting it. As you can see there, that just got rid of the white. So we'll just import it just like this. So what it's going to do next is vectorize our image, turn it into something that we can actually use in our slicer. It will automatically preview it with as many colors as it sees, but we can go and choose fewer colors if we want to do that. So we could just choose one color. For this one, though, I think we're going to do just 3. So then we can hit confirm. And now we've got our image here that we can place anywhere on the box. We can rotate it if we want to. We can scale it up or scale it down, depending on what you're placing it on. We can even zoom in or zoom out to make the image a little bit bigger, or make the subject that we're placing the image on bigger or smaller. So just like with the text, we can click, and our image is now baked into this 3D model over here. So as you can see, looks just like it did in my original video doing it in the slicer, except we just went through a couple clicks. What we can do next is click the confirm button, and this will bring us back to our original screen where we can come in here, change colors around a little bit. Since my logo is yellow, blue, and black, we can actually change that. We can also add suggested filaments. So if we want to choose from Bambu Lab's actual filament colors, we can do that as well. So that is the simplest way you can now add an image or a logo to the flat side of a box. Now I want to show you when we click export, you're going to get this little notification here. We can click download, and we're going to choose 3MF. We're going to do that for each of the models that we play around with today. Next up, we can come into Bambu Studio or your slicer of choice. I'm using the H2C to print these out, so I'm going to use Bambu Studio. We can drag our downloaded file into our slicer here, and we'll see our image now appears right here on the build plate. I am just going to change this to PLA Basic. We are going to change that to PLA Basic as well. Actually, what I'm going to do is come in here and synchronize filaments. So based off of what you have inside of your slicer or inside of your 3D printer, this will allow you to map those specific colors. So I can choose this one, I can choose that. I don't currently have black in there right now, so for the purposes of this exercise, we'll set that to gray. Now if I hit synchronize, the black is going to change to gray, and that's totally fine. We'll swap out the gray for the black when we go to print this one. But as you can see, that took all of just a couple minutes, and now we've actually got our logo here inside of the slicer. Now a couple things that I like to change first. I like to print all of my models with a minimum of 2 walls, if not 3 or more, depending on if it's structural or not. I use monotonic for both the top and the bottom surfaces. Default is set to monotonic lime. I always like to have at least 4, if not 5 top and bottom shell layers. That means 5 solid layers before it gets to our sparse infill. Speaking of sparse infill, I usually go with 15% adaptive cubic. Again, unless it needs to be a more functional part, then I can up the infill percentage. In the quality tab, for something on a flat surface like this, we can leave it at the default 0.20 millimeter layer height. We want to scroll down though. If you don't have advanced turned on, make sure you turn on advanced, and then we'll scroll down all the way to wall generator. Now for something as small as this, depending on your model, Arachne is going to give you a much cleaner detail. It's going to allow some of the smaller text in there to print a little bit better. So we'll choose Arachne as our wall generator. And the last thing we want to do is change this to only 1 wall on first layer. So I'll show you what happens if we just go ahead and slice it as it sits. So you can see there's 3 walls around this entire first layer here. And some of the detail is kind of missing because it is adding 3 different walls. If we choose only 1 wall on first layer and reslice it, you'll see it looks much cleaner than it did before. Some of the details come back inside of our image here, and it's just a much crisper, cleaner looking print. So that is what I like to change. Only 1 wall on first layer, Arachne wall generator, and then inside of strength, I like to have 2 or 3 wall loops, 5 top shell layers, 5 bottom shell layers, and 15% adaptive cubic infill. You can really choose whatever you want for the infill. Adaptive cubic just gives me a little bit less printing time, and it also provides plenty of strength. And for those of you wondering, because I had the same question, how thick does it make this little image here? Because if we only had 1 layer and you're printing in something like black, if you're printing your box in a black, this is not going to be as vibrant. So it's good to see it has 3 solid layers of these colors here, which means even if you were printing this box in black or a darker color, you're not going to see that through your colors here. So it'll give you 0.6 millimeters of solid color before it transitions into whatever the color of your object is. So I'm going to change this gray to black. We can slice this image, and I am going to send this down to the printer. All right, so that's how we would do something on a flat image. Works just as good as it did in the beginning, and we'll take a look at everything that we end up working on after everything is all finished up. Now next, what I want to show you is adding your image to something that is not a flat surface. I had a lot of questions in the original video that I put out. How would you add a logo to something vertically? Something like this brute trash can here. So I've gone ahead and downloaded a few different models, and we'll just start out with this one right here. Now what this is basically a pen or pencil holder in the form of a sweatshirt. Now we can change this to any color that we want. And you'll see it's got a lot of different patterns or wrinkles on it just like any sweatshirt would have. So we can click on the same image brush that we used for the flat layer, and we can choose our image here. Obviously, we're going to want to shrink it down so it fits somewhere on the sweatshirt, but you'll see one click, and it's finished. It's added our logo here to this model, and you can see it's done it very nicely. So maybe we want to add it to the back as well, a little bit bigger. I will tell you, if you are adding it to something like this and you are at an angle, it will put it at that perspective. So you can see as we scroll down, it's kind of warped a little bit. So if you want to have it straight dead on, you'll want to click whichever angle you want to stick it on with, and then click on the image. But again, you can see it's going around all those different curves here. So we can click the check mark, export this, save it as a 3MF file, and open it inside of Bambu Studio. As you can see, we've now got our 3D model in here with our logo attached to it on the front and the back. If we go to slice, you can kind of get an idea here of what it's going to do. Now this is a fairly small model, so our image on the back is going to look a little bit better than our image on the front. Let me just shut off supports for it a little bit. So it's looking a little stitched there. If we want to make this look a little bit nicer, one thing we could do is change our layer height, maybe double the amount of layers that we're going to do from 0.2 millimeters down to 0.1 millimeters, which is obviously going to double the time. And if you're using a single nozzle printer, will double your filament waste. Another thing we can do here is do the Arachne wall generator. So it's cleaning it up a little bit. It's not perfect. In fact, I would probably print this without any of the text down below it. We could even try going as low as 0.08. But I think what's really going to end up helping this particular model, because we've made this logo so small, is actually increasing the size of our print. So this is just something to keep in mind when you're doing something on a smaller object, especially if you have text and you want to do it on the side. It might not come out quite as clean as if we were printing on the bottom surface like our box. So you can see scaling it up definitely made that cleaner. It's not perfect though. There are definitely some areas where I think the model generator could improve in, but again, it is still in beta. But you are able to place the image on the side of an object here and print it out if that's something that you want to do. I still think placing it on a flat surface is going to be the cleanest option, but again, we do have the ability now to very quickly place an image on the side of something. So another thing that I wanted to take a look at is we will choose this we'll choose this dog bowl. So we can see here, we're going to choose this particular image and we can align ourselves to the front. So this has some ribs in it, or some areas where it might be more difficult for an image to lay flat into. But what we can see here is if we place our logo here, it actually forms to our container here. So it'll go in and out of the little ribs there. One thing I'd like to point out though is because we are doing this from a perspective, when we start to look at it from the side, you'll see here it's kind of missing the inner edges of some of these. And if we move to the left here, you can see how it's separated this R as well as part of our M. Once we move back flat though, you don't notice it. And that's because as of right now, it can only place on what it can see. So if I make this image a little bit bigger, and we zoom out like this, we can click it and it looks good from this point of view, right? But as we turn to the side, you'll see it kind of gets distorted a little bit and it's kind of missing everything that is not available to be seen right from this perspective here. So if you're looking at something dead on, again, it looks good, but as we turn to the side here, it's kind of missing the mark a little bit. Now this only seems to happen when you have a hard edge. If we go back and we choose something like this crust paper cup or like our sweatshirt where it's kind of got more smooth edges, we can take our image brush, choose our logo there, and let's say we want to place it just like that. So that seems to work okay. It does distort it a little bit, but because it's not such a hard edge, it's still able to capture it from all angles. So if we wanted something like that, we would be able to print that. I'm going to try from the back side here. Just see what we can gather and see what that ends up looking like. We might also place it on the bottom. That will end up looking just fine. So for this one, we can click the check mark. You can see our graphic has been placed on there. We can export and download that as a 3MF file and open it inside of Bambu Studio. We'll switch over to the H2C. Leave that as it is. So like we had with the sweatshirt, I have a feeling this is going to do the same thing. So our graphic here does look a little bit better, but it's not perfect. So we can try changing this to Arachne. We'll do one wall on first layer, and we can even try changing it to 0.1 millimeters to give us a little bit more detail. And it's definitely cleaner than the sweatshirt was. Again, it's not perfect though. It is a fairly small print, all things considering. So again, maybe we could use this as a trash can and scale it up, be a little bit bigger. Obviously, that is going to dramatically increase our print time, especially at a 0.1 millimeter layer height. But it does come out looking much, much cleaner when we increase the size of it. So depending on what the object is that you're putting the logo on, you may or may not get the best looking results. As far as the bottom layer, obviously that looks clean just like our box did. This is a 1 day 5-hour print, and that's even on the H2C where we've got multiple nozzles here. And because we've scaled this particular print up, it looks like we've also got some floating regions. So I am going to print this one. I think I'm just going to end up scaling it down a little bit. So we've still got legible text there. Again, it's not perfect, but it is much better than it was at the original size. We are just going to send this down and start it from the printer. So let's head down to the shop and get these things started up. All right, and in an effort to get both of these prints started at the same time, we've got the P2S, which is going to be used to print our box, and the H2C, which we're going to use to print our cup, just because of the dual nozzle situation. So we've got white loaded in the exterior spool, and then we've got our black, yellow, and blue loaded up here in the AMS2 Pro. Same over on this side, except we've got all 4 colors loaded up in the AMS2 Pro. We are going to get these prints on their way. And our box print is on its way. We've got our first 2 colors laid down, switching to black now for the outlines. Then it will move to white. Now, like we saw inside of the slicer, it's going to do 3 layers of the color, so it should have a nice, vibrant look to it whenever it is finished. And our H2C print is on its way. First off, starting with that graphic on the bottom, and then, of course, as it builds up with this print, we will have the image all the way on the center of that cup there. So now that both of these are on their way, we will check in on both of the prints when they are done. Both of our prints finished up overnight, and we can take a look at the finished results. So on our box here, if we get in real close, we can see super clean looking print right there. I did make the mistake of putting the logo on the box backwards, but you can see aside from the size difference here, and we printed this on a textured plate and this one was on a smooth plate, they look essentially the same. Both of these came out looking really good. This was our original way, and this was using mesh graffiti. Now moving on over to the cup, we can see this also finished up. Print looks really good. And if we get in real close as this will let me while still focusing, we can see there are some areas around the edges here where I think it could have been a little bit cleaner. But honestly, it really didn't come out looking bad at all, especially considering some of the smaller details inside of the actual wording there. And if we take a look on the inside, we can see the image through it. This is some fairly translucent PLA here. Again, we also have our logo on the bottom here, which came out looking really good, even in that smaller text. Again, if you want to go check out Mesh Graffiti for yourself, I will have a link down in the description below directly to Maker Lab, where you can check out Mesh Graffiti or Print You, Image to 3D Model, all of the different options that they have over there in Maker Lab. If you're somebody who is a little bit more technically inclined, or you want to see the old way of doing it, you can go check that video out over here. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next upload. I will see you all in the next video. Take care, and I hope you have a great day.